we are among the sports community mourning a tragedy yesterday, and it's really such a difficult thing to react to, certainly for you, because you had a friendship and a relationship with Kobe Bryant, but everybody's still kind of digesting the shocking news that he was among the 9 lives lost yesterday in that helicopter tragedy in Southern California.
Yeah, just one of those people that, today, 12, 15, 18 hours later, you just realize how brightly his star shone. Globally, people are mourning a great player, great father, loses his daughter. I mean, just there's nothing really to say. You and I travel for a living. That's our job, and it's really underrated. Leaving home and getting home safe.
Yeah, that's well said, and it's just such an unspeakable tragedy, and it hits you in such a shocking fashion. And when an iconic sports figure passes, everybody kind of stops in their tracks. But when it's somebody who loses their life at the age of 41, and along with other people, 9 people dying all told in this tragedy, it was one of those moments where it just kind of it slows you down all day because it's hard to wipe out of your brain.
It does. In fact, I was at a Yale-UConn hockey game when I heard about the news, and I realized that after the second period, I didn't know what the score was. Hadn't really watched the game. I just was daydreaming as I sat there. Then I got back in my car and came back to the house. But it's just it's one of the most awful things I've ever had to go.
Everybody attached to sports, everybody that pays attention is really shook by this, including our colleagues at Major League Baseball who sent this out via Twitter. We are devastated by the tragic news that Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gianna have died in a helicopter accident. Our thoughts are with the Bryant family and all those affected today. The Los Angeles Dodgers sent this out. We're devastated to learn of the passing of Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gianna. Our thoughts go out to all the families involved in the tragedy and everyone in the Lakers, Los Angeles, and NBA communities. We're going to talk to David Vassay later on in the show, our Dodger correspondent out in Los Angeles. I cannot imagine the grieving that's happening in Southern California, in Los Angeles, specifically on this morning, Kenny.
Guys, I cannot remember the death of a sports figure having this big an impact, the loss being this profound. And yesterday was just an awful day. And I remember talking to Alex Bregman last spring. And Alex Bregman at the time is an established Major League star, but he told me that he had spent the winter reading one of the books called The Mamba Mentality. That was Kobe's book. And the Mamba Mentality was about trying to become better than you were yesterday in every phase of your life. And athletes respected him and looked up to him because of that competitive fire that he showed. It was just something that burned so brightly for a guy with such talent. And that, of course, is what distinguished him as a player. And he, of course, went on to do other things with his life. He was a great dad, as we've seen with those photos and everything going on with his daughter Gianna, and won an Oscar for a short film that he helped make about basketball. So, again, this loss was something that just was so shocking. And he was born in Philadelphia, and I was in the Palestra in Philadelphia, the college basketball arena, a couple of weeks ago. There's a huge photo of him playing for Lower Merion High School in Philly. So this is a guy who had connections in Philly, in LA. He was born in Italy. He was, as you said, Matt, a worldwide figure. And there was one tweet among all of them that really stood out to me yesterday, and it was by a sports writer named Tim Layden. Tim used to work for Sports Illustrated, now works for NBC. And what he said was, sports journalists are discouraged from making heroes of athletes, and this is a good thing, because athletes are flawed humans like all of us. But then you see the outpouring of emotion today, and it's just more complicated than that. I don't know that you could have put it any better, because clearly Kobe Bryant was more than an athlete to a lot of people. And we should note, of course, that this tragedy did not just involve Kobe and his daughter Gianna, but 9 people, as you said, Matt. And one of the people involved was a baseball coach from Orange Coast College in Southern California. His name was John Altobelli. His wife, Carrie, and his daughter, Alyssa, also were on the plane. And John Altobelli was something of a legend in junior college coaching circles. In fact, his assistant, Nate Johnson, called him the Kobe of the junior college baseball world. And he's a guy that influenced a number of major leaguers as well. He coached in the Cape Cod League and the Alaskan League, two of the most prominent summer leagues. And in the Cape Cod League, he had Jeff McNeil, he had Aaron Judge. And those guys tweeted about him yesterday as well. Here's McNeil. Tough to hear the news of Coach Altobelli, one of my favorite coaches I have ever played for, and one of the main reasons I got a chance to play professional baseball. Both the baseball and basketball world lost a great one today. Altobelli's son, JJ, is a scout for the Red Sox. And again, guys, all lives are meaningful. All lives are just as important as every other. And there were 9 people on that plane. Of course, the Altobellis were among them. And just for so many people, just a tough day yesterday, and it's not going to get any easier. It's hard to go on thinking about what might have been for Kobe Bryant and all of those people who were on that plane.
Yeah, it just makes us all kind of stop dead in our tracks. You ask yourself why, and there's all these big existential questions that none of us are qualified to answer when a tragedy like this takes place. But the baseball world is in mourning and grieving the loss of 9 lives this morning.